Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis.
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
Good day and welcome to our podcast. This is CampHacker, episode 78, recorded on the 22nd of January, 2015. On today's show, how to spice up your dining room. If you would like easy, automatic, free updates of our podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or use the free Stitcher app. This week's CampHacker podcast is sponsored in part by camp pros like you who support the show on Patreon. If you've got even one good idea from the CampHacker podcast, you could show your support for the show for as little as $1 per episode. We've got some great rewards too, just like a Kickstarter campaign. Please go to patreon.com/camphacker. And by the Camp Owners and Directors Association. You provide quality camp experiences for children, helping them grow and gain independence. We help you achieve your vision. Check us out at campownersanddirectors.com. And by Camp Easy. To save on your listing in a camp directory that parents love, use the code CampHacker for 70% off the price of a full camp registration. We hope you enjoy the CampHacker Show.
Hello, Camp Pros, and welcome to the CampHacker podcast. My name is Travis Allison. I run a blog and a podcast network at camphacker.tv.
Hi, my name is Dan Weir. I'm the Director of Camping Services at Frost Valley YMCA. Frost Valley is a year-round camp conference education facility in the Catskill Mountains of New York, about 2.5 hours from Manhattan. And this was number 18 working at Frost Valley for me.
And my name is Gabrielle Rail, and I'm one of the camp directors at Camp Waro. Camp Waro is an all-girls camp in the Laurentians in Quebec, and we have a linguistic program, and I've been working there for a long time as well.
Well, it's great to see you both. It's nice to have you all here. I'm sorry that Dan's going here. I'm sorry that Joe couldn't be here. We had to change our recording timing, so Dan had to take his son Matthew to basketball game. We're actually today going to cover a really interesting topic, but I wanted to, before we get into the topic, I wanted to just invite you to do one thing that would help us out. If you've got anything from this show, it would be so helpful if you went to iTunes and gave us a little review there. The easiest way to do that is to go to camphacker.tv/iTunes, and that'll open up your iTunes browser, and you can leave us a little review there. That helps people in the camp world find us more easily and help us get more downloads and more exposure to people so that more camp pros get to see some of this good information from the people we bring together. Today's topic is really fun, and it was a great suggestion from Gab. We've done some pretty philosophical shows lately, and this one's it's going to be good nuts and bolts, practical things, and we're going to call it Spice Up Your Dining Room. So, Gab, tell us why you think that this is an important topic.
Well, as camp directors, we know that a big chunk of time is spent in the dining room for our campers and our staff members. And sometimes there's missed opportunities when it comes to programming and connection. And I thought, this is a great topic. I'm always looking for good ideas when it comes to our dining room. At Waro, because we have a linguistic program, and our campers sit English, French around the table. Right. Conversations can get a little difficult because we're working with two languages. So we're always looking for new ideas to make sure that our dining room is a lively place, and we want the kids to go home say that they made friends and they ate great food. So it's a very important topic.
Right. So we're going to focus more on the program side of it, the people part of it, instead of specific to the food or how you deal with dining hall procedures.
Totally.
Yeah, right on. Dan, what's the dining hall like at Frost Valley?
It is well. First, before I go to I can't reemphasize enough why this topic is important, because I look at, the kids spend 1/4 of their day in a dining hall. If you really think about the amount of time they're in meals. But The dining hall at Frost Valley is pretty unique. So we have 9 overnight camping programs at Frost Valley and 2 day camp programs, which means the only time you really feel like there's that many people on camp is in the dining hall. So we literally serve the same meal, but different people running the meal in 3 different rooms at the same time and 2 shifts. So literally, it's maintaining the camp's identity for each of those programs I talked about, but at the same point in time, very well orchestrated and trying to keep it a pleasant experience. I visited some dining halls of camps, and it's complete chaos. And I really believe, even more so with it just seems like the amount of eating disorders that children have is going up. And the amount of anxieties they have surrounding food is going up. And I really believe in trying to have it as a program, but also have it as a calm program at times,
right.
to get the rhythm of it. So it's very orchestrated for us. Would you like for me to run through what a typical meal looks like then?
Yeah, sure.
Or...
If yes, please, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'm just going to focus on our 2 biggest camp programs, our traditional camp programs. So they run it the exact same way. Kids come in. They literally will come and sit at their table. Tables are done by cabin group. So you are sitting with the kids that you stayed with the night before. Your counselors are with you right there. So literally the counselors know if you didn't sleep well, if you are going to have an active day. It's very supervised in that sense. Our CITs actually run all the logistic aspects. So the CITs deliver the plates and the utensils to the kids. We do that for one reason, because of the amount of people that can get up. The second reason we do it is for communicable diseases. The CITs have gloves on, and it's not 8 million kids touching gloves and touching everything. Yeah, so the kids are there. One important thing I forgot, though, is when they enter the dining hall, we have trough-style sinks. So we literally have sinks that are huge, and every kid will wash their hands before they come in. There's literally 5 faucet heads there, so we could have a cabin group go through in under a minute. So it really is something where we can really take a lot of people. Going from there, when they're sitting in the cabin groups, there's one director running the meal at the front of the dining hall. We do a grace. The grace does have the word Father in it, in one of them, and it has the word Lord in another one. And we tell kids if they don't want to say those words, they don't have to, but that we say the grace out of respect that we once did and started with the camp. And then we will have a moment of silence after that, and then we'll have a moment of something random. I've seen everything from thumb wrestling to high-fiving to staring contest, but something to add a little fun into it. And then we have the kids go up with meal cards. So every table has a meal card, and they have one waiter or waitress or waitron go and take their card up to the line, and we serve family style. So that when the tray comes back to the table, that is when people are finally allowed to get up from the table. Because of the amount of people, though, we only allow 2 up at a time. So the tray of food is a hot meal. It's a kid-friendly meal. It's the meal that the whole dining hall is serving. If a child doesn't like what we're serving, we have a very extensive salad bar. We also have soup. We also have soy nut butter and jelly out. So that's for lunch and dinner. For breakfast, it's oatmeal and the soup base, and it becomes a large cereal bar with fruit and dairy options as well too. So kids eat. Only 2 up from a table. The staff are right there. The staff are present. We recently shifted our dining hall tables, so now everything is somewhat circular. So the staff have really great supervision with the kids. And then they finish eating. We do something called dessert time. So the kids. We ask what time it is. The kids yell it. It's dessert time. It's very funny to kind of walk through this procedure like this.
Yeah.
And then, I want to say, they serve dessert. and then we do a cleanup song. So it's the only time music is actually played in the dining hall is they do whatever pop song. Usually it's a song per week, and they do the same song. But yeah, so they play that song, and then everyone cleans up, and then they come back to their tables. And at the end of it, we either work in performance, so we might work in kids singing for a little bit, or we might just want to get them out of the dining hall. And it really kind of depends on the flow of the day. But yeah, there's announcements for anything that's important, and anything that needs to get across to the whole group, and then we get the kids out on the dining hall. So that is typically how a meal runs. The younger half of camp, when they come in, the table's already set up for them. I mean, the tables are pushed down. For the older half of camp, they do have the responsibility of popping their tables and sweeping after each meal.
Right.
But it's kind of looked at as an honor that they get to do that they're trusted with it as a whole. But I really believe that you have to have the right flow of being calm and quiet enough so a child can eat and a child can have a conversation,
Right.
so the staff can supervise the kids, and then also have some energy in it. So that's why things kind of, as soon as we're done passing out food and everyone's kind of eating, that's when the energy level picks right back up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's cool, and I certainly share that philosophy. When we were directing, you'd have a fun opener. In our case, usually a sun grace, and
Yes.
then the meal would start. Sort of, the usual hopper, gopher, whatever you call it at your camp, um, and then people would focus on the conversations at the table. And I'm curious to talk with you, Gab, about how you work conversations, like being thoughtful about what those conversations mean. But for us, it was just a chance for the counselors to talk to their kids, and we also often would have what we called grandparents, which was a senior staff person assigned to each cabin group, and so they would often be at cabins for meals and be part of that conversation. And then when the meal was cleaned, then they could do cheers and songs. But we wanted it to be a period where people focused on eating and quiet conversation, and then move into cheers and songs. And there'd be, cheers and songs as long as it took for everyone else to finish. We used cheers and songs as a motivator to keep a meal moving. Is once another table starts to do a song and you want to join, then you that's how we get the meals moving and get the tables cleaned up and going. And then they would end the meal with announcements, which we really tried to focus on creative announcements, skits, costumes, lighting cues, music, all of that, instead of, make sure you bring your towel to the buddy board today, kind of boring stuff. We tried to make it as creative as possible. But we also, at least one meal a day, often two meals a day, would have some sort of short skit that was based around the theme of the week. And and they've certainly carried this on at Karen since we left. It's become even more involved, where the theme of the week might be Toy Story, but there are characters from the movie that come through and plot a story throughout the whole week. And so those characters would often have a bit of something to happen during a meal, or they might take part in things like kids after a meal would do duties in the morning, part of cleaning up camp, and that would be assigned by a character from Toy Story, or whatever the characters were. And then we would always end a meal. We always like to say that we would end a meal together, or begin a meal together and end it together. So there's always some sort of closer that would bring it all together. And that came from me when I was a kid. Our director always had us do our moment of silence then. We would always, let's end this meal with a moment of silence, and then somebody would dismiss everybody from the dining hall. And we got a lot more creative with that. When we moved to Glenmore, they had this great thing called the out chant that they did at the end of every meal, and we've since added a whole bunch more to that. So there was quiet time and singing and lots of things throughout it that were fun. Gab, for you folks, what's a quick rundown of a meal look like?
Well, again, similar philosophy of making sure that it's conducive to calm and eating. So you want to create sort of that positive environment that's not too loud or overwhelming, and then you're overwhelmed by the meal. Very similar to both of you. One of the slight differences is that at the end of their meal, each table, also family style, served by the counselors. Once all the plates are passed around, then you can start eating.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And if you want seconds, you have to wait till it's offered, so that it's not, I'm going for seconds. We're trying to time the whole table, and so there's kind of these old school table manners, which I think are great table manners to learn. And we often have parents calling us or emailing us and saying, what have you, my daughter is so polite at the table, and it's nice.
It's so great.
And those are things that you do. Manners help with creating a space for conversation. One of the things at the end of the meal, once the campers have cleaned up and whipped up the table, they do what we call just a break, and it's a little chant that they do that represents their meal. So you sort of get to hear the inside jokes from each table, and it always ends with break, and it's always funny to hear, and the younger ones versus the older ones. So that's one of the things that we do, and then on a little note for kids that don't really like the meals. We always offer what is called a no thank you helping. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So those things I think are great. And you just put like a pea on the plate, or a little bit of whatever, a tomato.
Yeah.
And they don't have to try it. I find that 40% of the time, and that number is not scientifically proven, but I believe 40% of the time a camper will try it. And out of that, almost half of them actually like it. So I always recommend that the no thank you helpings happen, and it's a good way to get campers to try it. But then having alternatives is important as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Gab, what are some of the things that you've added into meals or to that time together in the dining hall over the last little while?
Well, my aunt had this with my cousin. She had this. They lived in a small house in Toronto, and her husband's a cartoon animator. So they always had the coolest toys, like these really cool toys from Japan, and these really like funky items. And she told, but I remember them getting a lot of toys, but their rooms weren't filled with toys. She told me when I was much older that what she would do is rotate the toys in and out, and it made the toys just seem more exciting. So after, a month or so, a couple of toys would disappear and some other toys would go in, and it was just sort of this rotating, revolving door of different toys.
Smart.
And so we do the same thing with games on the table. So if, like I said at the beginning, conversation cards, if you put those out at the beginning, they could be used, but after a couple of days, they're not going to look at them again. Right. So we sort of rotate in things throughout the summer to start with, would you rather's, best and worst time of, just these little fun conversation starters that could be fun, or they don't use them at all. But it's something it's a tool there. And also we have games and riddles and those type of things. But I remember always putting in a lot of effort at the beginning of the summer on these little items that we'd put in the middle, and they were used within the first couple of days, and then people didn't look at it afterwards. Right. And so we just sort of put them there and then take them off. Don't have them on the table for a day or two. Put something else, and then our staff are intrigued by what's there, and so are our campers.
Right.
You could put a box of Trivial Pursuit.
Yes.
Right there, and just for a day, and then take them away, and they will use it for sure.
Right.
Anything. Especially these board games that are missing a whole bunch of pieces.
Yes.
These are a good place to create something with it.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. One of the most purposeful camps I've ever been to about meals and conversations, and for them, they did a lot more games at the table, was Camp Twingo. And Gavin and I have a mutual friend, Jergy, who many of you may know from the International Camping Federation, and Jergy speaking at many things. Jergy taught me some great table games. I remember that being a whole section, like almost an hour and a half section of this skills weekend that I went to for program directors. And it was just really fun. They were really purposeful. They had a place on top of the piano where if where you could go to get something. Like if you were done your meal ahead of time and you're just waiting and your kids didn't feel like cheering and you just want to do something a bit different, you could go get some of these table game things. And he taught us games with napkins and like it was just really fun. They also have songs that are only dining hall songs that they did at that time. So they've been really purposeful about it. So if any of you ever run into John Jorgensen, you should ask him about fun stuff they do at Toingo because they're really purposeful about it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and I think the dining room song thing is also wonderful. We also have dining room songs that aren't sung anywhere else in camp, and I think that with the dining room, when you create sort of traditions and rituals, and it's exciting because
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
oh yes, we're going to sing this song, and it's not sung anywhere else in camp. And I think that what you're talking about, the purposefulness, is actually sometimes we don't. Dining room is almost our afterthought, and just assigning a couple of staff members during staff training who've been to many staff trainings before, who are responsible staff members, and saying, listen, you don't need to go to these 2 sessions because you've been there, you know what's what. This is maybe updated information for that. I really want to make the dining room stellar this year.
right.
And pair them with a leadership team member and get them to brainstorm, and because you don't need everybody to be on board, you don't need everybody to be part of it, but you have a couple of your staff members and they know what's difficult at times. And there's always sometimes that awkward 12-year-old table where there's no talking, so it's like, that table, what can we do for that table? Yeah.
Dan, has dining hall changed for you over time?
Yeah, there is 2 things I think that are really strategic parts of our dining hall that I haven't touched upon. One is we compost all of our food waste. We've been doing it since the 80s. I would say the biggest change we've made in the past decade is really kind of taking it seriously and making sure kids are aiming for 0 food waste, and making sure that they know that the impact they're having on things. And so we actually do a contest to who could have the lowest amount of food waste, and they get T-shirts one year. We do different things depending on the year and what prize they want. But it just teaches sustainability. It teaches stewardship, and we really believe in it. And the kids look around the property with pride, then saying that they helped contribute to it by simply just managing their own food waste. Another thing that we do that I absolutely love, going into the performance piece, you were talking about songs that you only have in the dining hall. So every lunch we have something called hoopla. And so hoopla happens obviously at the end of the meal, like we talked about, the energy picking up at the end of the meal. And so every village, that's how we split up our kids. So we split them up by age and gender. And so every village has, I want to say 3 to 5 cheers. And literally hoopla is a cheer. It's a cheer war. It's pretty amazing to watch. These cheers go back a long way. A lot of them are modified songs. They become huge sources of pride. The kids. The nice thing is, with each group having a sense of cheers, you have kids cheering each other's cheers as well too. So as you get older, you will still sing the cheers that you kind of grew up through.
Right.
Granted, I live and work at camp, but I've sung these cheers to my daughter as lullabies as well. So like they really become a point of it. And so I actually was visiting somebody that's a potential future partner on Wednesday, and they said to me, how can we get cheering in our program? They run a community center, and it was really funny to talk about how organically it was just these songs that modified, and then they kind of became geared towards each other. And it's truly awesome to watch. There's actually videos on YouTube if you search hoopla as well. You'll find them, some Frost Valley videos on it. But it's pretty special. Like every once in a while I'll record it. They could be anywhere from hoopla could be anywhere from like 5 minutes to 20 minutes long, depending if the energy level and the time of day and how things are going. But yeah, it's pretty amazing to watch. I love it because the staff do a great job of teaching the cheers before the kids go into the meal.
Great.
So before they go into that first lunch, it's giving something for the whole group to bond around. It's not the type of thing where you're supposed to know them.
Right.
In fact, you probably only know the ones that the villages prior. You don't know the village that you're going into. So a lot of people are excited to learn the new cheers every year they go there. So it's kind of a leveling ground for new kids and old kids in that sense, or returning kids, not old kids. But yeah, those are two things that I would say, weren't super recent changes, but I would say over the past 20 years of me being here, I've gone from little to major components of our program, sources of pride for the kids that they go home and they stack their plates and they sing songs, So,
Yes.
yeah.
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 It's awesome. Well, one thing that Hoopla makes me think of, it waxes and wanes, but that's part of the fun of it too, is it's there for some summers and goes away for a few summers and comes back. Some summers there have been really big productions, or something that happens every day for duties in the morning. So sometimes each cabin is assigned duty by handing them a sheet of paper, but it's never just hand them a sheet of paper. As I said, sometimes it's characters. But sometimes we did a thing where we had a duty wheel where you would spin to see what you get, which was the most highly obviously fixed game in town. And it was one of those things that when I was a director, the people who became program director would take over the duty wheel from me, who brought it, started it, and so we'd have to have training to get to run the duty wheel, because we wanted it to be fair, but you had to sort of fix it without obviously fixing it. But so starting that routine and getting kids, like maybe one kid from each kid coming up to spin the duty wheel to see what their duties were, in that moment of announcing it, and then there's kids coming up, there would be songs that started, and they just started as like your hoopla songs or chants that just came from commercials and things that have been modified to just talk about how excited people were to do duties, and we hope we get the bad ones, and it's just all those things that were part of a fun routine that I think there's probably now 8 duty songs that happen in a row automatically. So kids are starting to spin and going back to their table to report what they got while the songs are still going on. Now there's so many of them. Are there any other things that you would like to introduce at some point?
I've got like a few things that I wrote down that from other camps that I visited that I
Yeah.
loved, and so I love when camps have history in their dining hall and their physical building. Like you walk in, Coniston does a fantastic job of this, where you walk in and there's literally every staff photo for the past however many years they were in it. I think that's a huge thing, and they also have they give out like a 5-year camper award, and they take every kid's name and they put it on a paddle and they put it on the wall. They have it like specially engraved. So like I really love things celebrating the history, especially if you're going to be in that room for 1/4 of your camp experience.
Yeah.
I think awards that the organization has gotten are a great thing to have in a dining hall to show off. If you don't have a welcome center or a main building people go into, I think that's important to show off. And I also like when they do silly awards, like Camp Mason's got an award for food waste, and that they give to school groups. I think it's the Golden Spoon Award. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's silly, but it's great. Like you go there and you see like the school's name and the spoon, and it's like it feels like camp. It's tastefully done, but it's really cute, and I love that. And the last is just being smart about the space. Again, visiting Constant, they didn't like the visual of the space, and what he did was he painted the ceiling black, and all of a sudden it got people looking downward a little bit more instead of looking up at the rafters of the ceiling. So, and I've visited a number of camps where they all handle it differently, but I think just being very attentive to the eyesores of the room and how to make them beautiful,
Right.
So.
Right. Cool. Right on. Gab, is there stuff that you'd like to add, or that you've been talking about as thinking about collecting?
Yeah, well, I to add to the history part, with Dan's history part, we have every cabin group does a little plaque where they paint their what represents their summer, and they put their name on it. And all of those plaques go up in the dining room. So you can see, if you were there as an 8-year-old, you'll see your 8-year-old plaque that's there, and who your counselor was, and who your cabin mates were. And for me, it's natural, but I know that when people come to visit, they're always intrigued by all of these plaques, and they're like, "What are these?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's these.
Right.
We have hundreds of them, and they're beautiful. They're full of colors, and they look great." I went also to Circle R Ranch as a camper, and every summer, they did their CIT program. They always introduced us to their environmental sort of goal, and they had a speech, and each person dressed up as a character, and everybody knew the words. If you're going there long enough, you knew exactly what the son was going to say, and what the farmer was going to say, and what the cook was going to say. But sort of that ritual. I was looking forward to it every single year, and sort of these characters to stand up, and it felt like we're all in this together. And it was, even though it was a skit that was performed almost the exact same way, as you said, Dan, it was an honor, and it helped us all be on the same page. And they also weighed their waste bucket, and which group got the lowest waste bucket, and they kept a chart. And I thought that was I always liked that, and I was always moving towards those type of things. And you also have to work with your kitchen a certain way, and your maintenance team. But as we go by, we get more and more environmental. But I definitely want to keep pushing in sort of more composting, and So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, I think it's also fun if there's something that your camp makes or your cook makes that's special to your camp, to really highlight that. So our cook, he's Italian. He makes these cinnamon rolls, which we call sticky buns. And there's this mixture of honey and butter that you make to dip your cinnamon bun in. And it's only on Sundays. And campers hear about this. This is in our newsletter. This is first year campers. We talk about the ratio of honey to butter, and which way to go. And I think it's fun it's like when you're going and you're traveling somewhere and you're experiencing the delicacy of that area. I think it's nice to have a couple of items on your menu that they really don't get it anywhere else, and celebrating it. And it sounds silly, but new campers come to camp and they're like, I can't wait to try these sticky buns. And he's a legend. He gets the most likes on our Facebook when it's his birthday.
Right on.
Him and Jackie, it's all usually kind of tied, but we really promote our cook. Mostly because we don't want him to leave either. Right. Hold on to those cooks.
What were you going to say, Dan?
You just said too, it reminded me, so when I took over this role, we used to have this thing called brunch that years ago, it was like bringing out all the leftovers from the week. And kids always finally remembered it, and I, as a staff member, always hated it. And then over time, we kind of got to an area where we couldn't do it anymore. Regulations getting tighter and whatnot. And it was always safe then, but just to be within the standards. Right. And then it kind of became like this weird servings of things, and so we used brunch now, Sunday brunch, to really celebrate them making it halfway through the session, our 2-week-long sessions. So we actually serve ice cream at 10 in the morning.
Yes.
It's funny. Like, first time when we did it, we didn't know how much we should serve and all that stuff. We the compromise too is we serve it with chicken and waffles. So you have to get ice cream if you choose to get ice cream, you have to get it placed on a waffle. So you can't we know you're eating something else. And also the kids are sitting with the staff and whatnot. But I could tell you right now, like, people, like, literally, no one ever complained about brunch again. And right. And I haven't heard any negative feedback from parents. When we talk from parents, if they do make a comment, it's like, look, we're celebrating halfway through the session, and parents get it. They more just bring it up. Like, my kid told me this crazy story that they had ice cream at 10 in the morning. I'm like, oh, no, that's true. That's 100% true. But I really, what Gab was saying, like, something special really does make a difference. It doesn't have to be necessarily a special food per se, but something with different timing. But yeah, I know no one camp does like candy breakfast one day or something like that. But I mean, it's not, we're not serving. I don't know. I guess ice cream's not that much better than candy.
How does the
yeah,
brunch
just
work,
yeah.
Dan? Like, do they have? I'm guessing your normal breakfast is, around 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
So
is
so
there a snack always at 10 something or?
yeah. So I'll actually go into a little bit more. The
Because
complete
I want to
intention of
do
it
this. This
is
is a great idea.
yeah.
I'm totally
So
doing it for
so
myself.
we have a lot. Yeah, you're gonna go do it tomorrow morning. We've got a large director team here. We have a large team that really keeps camp going because we're a large camp, and I'm really big into servant leadership, meaning that I take care of the staff like you would take care of the kids. It's the shortest way I could say it. So we, as a director team, actually serve the ice cream to everybody that morning. So we literally, it's called the Island of Dreams. We put 4 tables in the center of
This
the
is getting
dining
better
hall.
and better.
Yeah, oh, it gets way better. Just wait. And we each one has a station. So because you have to get through all these kids in like a quick time as
Yeah.
well too, because they're
For the
waiting
ice
for
cream
the
melts.
breakfast. And then we put on the Willy Wonka soundtrack, and we call up groups to the Island of Dreams, and we call up certain villages, and they could choose between vanilla or chocolate. If they use manners, they end up getting more. We always encourage them to use manners, and then we have whipped cream, sprinkles, chocolate syrup. Like I told the kitchen, like it has to be over the top because if you're gonna do ice cream and just do like a little half scoop, it needs to be a little bit of a wow, but at the same point in time, you don't want kids to vomit. So we do this, and yeah, the kids go nuts. And the staff, the first year, the staff, a little resistance from the staff, and that's when we added chicken. We added breaded chicken because they were saying there wasn't a protein. So that younger half eats from 10 to 11, older half eats from 11 to 12. Around 2:30, we drive around with a snack, which is sun chips or a healthy chip, an apple, and some water. And then we have dinner at normal time. So the kids sleep in Sunday morning, and then the first thing they go to is brunch. It kind of like rocks their world in that sense. And for kids that don't know what's coming, it's pretty amazing. Like the first time we did it, we didn't tell the staff we were going to do it. It really blew their minds. Now we're in the 3rd year of doing it, and it's definitely kind of an expectation. But I really believe in servant leadership, and I believe serving food is an easy way to show that you care for people. And it might be the Jewish mother in me, but it's just what I like, So yeah.
I'm fist pumping in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they don't know what's going to hit them. I'm trying to plan when is this going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Exciting.
Camp North Star does candy breakfast. Sue Goldberg's camp in Maine. They're good people to talk to too about. I actually learned how to do over the top from her. She knows what she's doing when it comes over the top.
She's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we didn't do this so much when I was directing. Excuse me, but when I was a kid, we had theme meals. So you'd have monk's meal or one utensil meal or stuff like that. We cut out a lot of those just because we found there was a lot of wasted food. But some of those theme things still happen. They still happen. Are there any of those that you folks do that would stand out?
Yeah, we also cut out a lot, mostly because I didn't like them personally myself. And I felt like it was a deterrent. It took away from the community aspect. So for those of you who don't know, Monk's Meal, you're not supposed to speak. And, but we've replaced them with, if there's a special program that evening, decorating the entire dining room where we get staff the night before and we just go over the top, as you say, Dan, and decorate the entire dining room. So then in the morning, when campers are coming in, and we don't say anything, we just act totally normal. And they're like, what's going on? And, you do that once a session, and it just sort of to highlight the program that might be happening that evening. And I always like that. I feel like it's,
it's magical.
It's magical. Yeah. It's out of the ordinary, and the staff love it. And and you give snacks to the staff that night while you do it, and it's a fun team building thing, and it's usually it's volunteer, and a lot of people show up because there's food. So, no, it's magical. It's exciting, and to see their faces in the morning, and they're just not expecting it. It's very fun. So we try to do those type of things, and I think everybody really enjoys that.
Yeah. Any Frost Valley theme meals, Dan?
It, not really super themed. Villages will have theme days, and they tend to use the dining hall kind of as a stage to show off their theme day and make other villages jealous that they're going through a theme day.
Yeah.
So the dining hall is more like a variety program, I would say,
right.
per se. But yeah, we have 4 all camp events, so we use the dining hall to promote those. So, like, for instance, when we have Olympics, we use the dining hall to promote the Olympics is coming, and like we'll announce the coaches there. We'll actually announce them twice so that both sets of kids could get hyped. Right. When you turn on the theatrics too, it's got to be pretty quick and also entertaining to 300 people. So it tends not to drag on that much when we do it as a whole. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that I might have missed that we do. The music playing, we really, I want to say that was a big shift for us. I want to say in 2004, it was like music on all the time. And we kind of overdid it. And scaling back the music to the times you're supposed to be up from the table has really helped the meal run as a meal. Right. But we actually, I can't reemphasize this enough, and this is actually stems from Cam, who I work with, who's the director for the Old Traffic Camp. We really believe in running the camp meal like a camp meal. So staff training, run it how you want it. Like don't just have a buffet line during staff training. Run it like a camp meal. That's the best way the staff are going to learn. That's the best way things are actually going to happen during the summer. So.
Right on. That's great. Well, thank you both for sharing some awesome stuff. I'm really grateful. And if people have some of their own ideas and like to share them with us, you're welcome to email me, travis@camphacker.tv, or reach out on Twitter. You can find all of our Twitters in the show notes. If you're interested in the show notes for any of our shows, go to camphacker.tv/podcast. This is episode 78, the one called Spice Up Your Dining Room. Check in, you can reach out and ask Dan and Gab some questions. And I know Joe's got some cool dining hall traditions as well. But share those with us. We'd be happy to spread them around and maybe mention them on a next podcast. What I want to do now then is move us on to that time. It is time for our Tool of the Week.
Tool of the Week.
So our Tool of the Week is a chance for each of our panelists to share something that helps them be a better camp director. And looks like we have some good ones gathered here today. Dan, what's your tool today?
So I'm actually going with something we do for our campers that I absolutely cherish. So I really believe in front-loading people with information for comfort. So we actually mail home all of our campers a brochure during the summer, and they kind of introduction for the camp program. But we also, when they've chosen to be at camp and they're coming back, we mail them a poster to get them excited for camp. So I have a few examples with me. One, and it has to be distinct for the camp program you're doing it. So, for instance, this is the farm camp. You can see it's the farm itself. This is main camp. It's the Stars in the Lake, which almost every kid in main camp does goes swimming. And then this is adventure. So they do a lot of kayaking and out on the water with our adventure trips. But so that's the front of it. But the back of it has specific information for your camp experience. So a little bit of camp culture, a cartoon map. It was great when I went to our graphic designer that we've been using. I said, do you do hand drawing? She's like, I love hand drawings. Yes, I'm so excited to do that. So hand drawn maps of camp. And then for adventure, specifically when we do this, we want kids to see there's a progression, so the kids could see that they could literally go on adventure trips and become a staff member for for main camp, it could be overwhelming the property, so the property
Right.
map's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And then for farm camp, we really kind of go into what the chores are, because we get a lot of questions of like, am I going to be just taking care of animals the whole time?
Right.
But it gets the kids pumped. For the kids that know your camp program, they're going to put the poster side up on your wall, and then it's instant marketing
Right.
to all their friends when they're over. For the kid that wants knowledge, it's every question that we could have thought of putting it on there. And we really find that kids put them on their walls. The
Right.
kids don't get many posters these days. They don't get mail. Kids are excited to get mail again. And a lot of people have cut their print out of their budgets, and I don't know if that was a good idea or not. So, we do this in-house. So, with our graphic designer in terms of the layout, and then we just send it to a printer. They give it back to us, and we just include it in the packets. We do fold it, which is it's a crime, but the kids still love it, and
Right.
So
That's great. What an awesome idea. Thank you, Dan.
That is a great idea. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Too bad Waro doesn't have an in-house graphic designer. Hey,
Yeah.
Gab.
I know.
giving Gab more
I
work.
was just like adding something to my to-do list right there.
This is too late for people that are listening, and my apologies for this, but Dan, you should submit those to the Camp Marketing Awards.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I will talk to our marketing department, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But definitely, I
They're
can't
awesome.
reiterate enough. We send a family handbook home, and that's really just content for the parents. But this is just nice. Kids enjoy getting that. I really believe that it's also really unique to see. I'm seeing more and more parents let the kids make the decision about camp.
Right.
They kind of come up with their standard questions for the parent, and then after that, they're letting the kid truly decide. So, I think posters are a good thing. I think print's a good thing. I think YouTube's a great thing as well too. But
Right.
it's just polar opposite in philosophy.
For camps that are listening, you should check out the camplateurawards.com. Just camplateurawards.com. It's an award show that we're sponsoring, and we're one of the founding sponsors. We wanted to highlight great summer camp marketing, and you may be a bit too late for you to submit for this year, but go and check out the results and get on the email list so you can know when it happens again next year, because there are some really fantastic stuff submitted. You're going to find it so inspiring. So we hope you go check that out at camplateurawards.com. I'm going to go with my tool. As many of you know, I do a lot of traveling for speaking and going to camps and presenting, and so I'm on the road a lot. And one of the things that gives me the most stress on the road is running out of power on my phone when I have my airplane tickets on there, when I have the podcasts I want to listen to, etc. And I had a really stressful trip in the fall, and I was just nursing my phone through the day, trying to make sure I could get on my last plane before it would die. And what I did is I went to Amazon and I bought this Anker battery. It's 13,000 milliamps, which means that it can recharge my phone 6 times. And so it's got a little tester to show how many. I'm at 3/4 of battery power right now. It plugs into USB. Could charge an iPad or a phone, but it's just small and it's light. It comes in a little padded case, and I just keep it in my briefcase now so that I don't have that stress of running out of power. So we'll put the link for that. The brand is called Anker, but do go to the show notes at camphacker.tv/podcast and look in the tool of the week on episode 78 to see that, and also to see what the link to Gab's tool, which is, as a photographer, always makes me happy, this one.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So mine is B&H Photo Video Company, which is an American company. Their stores in New York, and it's for photographers and videographers. And I think camp people, because we're just talking about marketing. We need good footage so that we can market our camp. So this might be, maybe you choose to use this tool or not, depending on your trigger figure when you buy things late at night online. But it's the deal zone with B&H, and they really have amazing deals on a lot of stuff. Cameras, lighting, even projectors, So a lot of great things, and you'll get them probably 50% or more off. And if you're Canadian, if it's over $100, they ship it for free, and they'll help you out with the duty, and it gets delivered to you very, very quickly. So I've saved a lot of money just looking at the deals, and they're 24 hours or until everything's sold out. So I have that there, and I have my restrictions, like what am I allowed to buy? I can't buy. So, I keep my eye out for maybe that camp camera or maybe a couple of little point and shoots that you want to lend to kids to take around camp, and those type of things.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good old B&H. I love them.
I love that place.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, one of the things that makes B&H stand out to me as a business who sticks to their principles, is that they shut down for the Sabbath, and they won't take online orders for Sabbath. And every time I see that, it's like, I love a business that says, this is who we are. Deal with it.
I know.
But their service is so great.
I love that as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And then I'm like, maybe I should be taking Sabbath right now. Maybe I need
yes
to be chilling out a little bit. Yeah, no, they're very consistent, and they do stick to their values.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you both for being on. I just as a reminder, I've said you go check out the show notes. If you enjoyed the show and got some good ideas from Dan, or you loved Gab's thing about having conversation starters that you put in and off the table, then if you go to camphacker.tv/love, it'll put out a tweet that helps share the message of what you got out of CampHacker today. It'd be really useful to us if you got something great for the show. We'd really appreciate that. It's automatic and fast, so go to camphacker.tv/love. The other thing I wanted to say in terms of wrap up today is we really want to thank our editor and producer, Matt Hansberger, who has been so kind to put all these shows together and get the audio ready for you. And he's taking on even a little bit more role for that right now. And so thanks, Matt. You're awesome, and the show couldn't happen without you, so we're grateful. Dan, thanks. And before you go, I wonder if you'd take a second, just let people know how they can follow up with you.
Yeah, so I tweet at Dan Loves Camp, same thing for Instagram, and same thing for a website, so danlovescamp.com. I work at Frost Valley YMCA as well too, if you need to get a hold of me through there. But yeah, I'm happy to help you out. So.
Right on. Take care, man. Yeah. And Gab, thanks for being on the show too. How can people follow up with you?
Well, you can check out where I work at waro.com, and follow me on Twitter at Gabrielle Rail, or on Instagram, Gabrielle Rail as well.
That's awesome. Thanks, Gab.
Thanks.
Sometimes people let me know that they've just found the show and then they're starting and listening from the beginning. And one of the things when you tell me your Twitter, Gab, just cracks me up, is you used to say, well, I'm not really on the Twitter. I don't really do it very often, but you're on the Twitter all the time now. It's a big part of...
Yeah, if you're listening from the beginning, that's what I say, and then I start saying I'm really trying, and now I've got there. I've made it part of my routine. So, and I really like it.
Yeah, me too.
It took me a while though.
And Twitter is really the genesis of this show. This show happened because Dan and I were some of the first ones talking about summer camp on Twitter, and that's how we met, and that's what helped us bring everybody together. So,
awesome.
So check everybody out there. Our Twitter is at CampHacker. It's all one word, twitter.com/CampHacker. And yes, we put out lots of good stuff about camp marketing, about leadership, and also our shows as well. So we really do thank you for watching and for listening. It's been awesome. And thanks for the evening, friends.
The CampHacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening. CampHacker, bringing your world into focus.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. quick, free, repeatable. You'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.